Hello, everyone, and welcome to another trip to Nintendoland, where we're growing trunks and hooves and big floppy ears around here. That's right. It's time to talk about Nintendo video games and elephant-related content. Only here on this monthly Rational Passions podcast about Nintendo. Hello, I am Mike Burgess, and I'm here with Alex O'Neill. Hello, Alex.
Hello,
Hello,
Nintendo.
Nintendo.
Princess Peach is back, you guys.
That is right. We're this just a disclaimer. You probably already noticed if you're watching this on YouTube, but this is going to be a fun audio only version. You won't be able to see our faces just because Alex is in the process of moving and doesn't have his setup.
Fault.
No, it is fine. You're going to be in a lovely new home soon enough. So we'll be back in face forms in future episodes. But for now, you're just getting us in audio. But we'll still be on YouTube and podcast services. All that stuff will still be there. You'll just have to watch some fun gameplay and other trailers and things from this Nintendo Direct that just happened. Well, we're literally recording this hours after it happened. This is like one of those rare chances where we're getting to do that. That's fun. But yeah, we had a Nintendo Direct happen. We got our summer Direct. We thought the summer game announcements and mess and shenanigans were over a week ago, but Nintendo was like, nah, dog. Check out this Mario that's an elephant. What the fuck is up, baby?
Whoa.
And we're just like, hell yeah. Let's take us on a trip. Take us on a trip, Nintendo. Let's fucking do this. That's how I'm feeling.
As mentioned last episode, like I really didn't think they were going to do a Direct at all this summer. Yeah. So this was like chock full of surprises, basically. Yeah,
for sure. We'll definitely get into the bigger details, but yeah, just like a general vibe check for me and you, I think we could start with is just, I was definitely like edgy or kind of back and forth on thinking if there's going to be a Direct. I didn't know if it was going to be June. I thought it was going to be maybe like a July Direct. And we would just have like a couple things. Nothing like it would be kind of just like updates on a lot of stuff we already knew, not necessarily a bunch of new game announcements. But surprisingly enough, they proved me wrong, and we got a bunch of new. We got all those updates on games. We also got a bunch of new game announcements that have like basically filled out the rest of the year for Nintendo Switch games. All of them look fantastic. And it seems like I know we are definitely still in that kind of vibe. I think me and you and just like a lot of people in the gaming circles and gaming discussion circles are still just kind of in that vibe of like, all right, we're in that swan song period of the Switch. We know they're probably cooking on some kind of new system or hardware, but like, is it soon or is it soon? And now it definitely feels more and more so like it is probably next year. For sure. But even with that though, they still have tons of cool games to play and look forward to this year. But yeah, I like this Direct overall. What were kind of your general vibes? And I think I broke it down here in this doc. I kind of cherry picked kind of like the quote unquote bigger announcements, I would say, out of this, mostly like the new game announcements, and new reveals, and like a lot of there's some other stuff too. That were kind of cool. So, what were kind of your general vibes, and what was kind of something that you maybe wanted to start talking about? Like, what are you dying to talk about?
I was definitely surprised. I went in with low expectations too. Like, I just had, it's kind of similar to the PlayStation Direct where I was kind of like out of it. I didn't really, we a lot of these things we really didn't know about. There was like, the person that had like reported or leaked other things previously had said a couple of things that turned out to be true. And so I like had that in the back of my mind beforehand, but generally, I feel like it was kind of low key, but like not in a bad way. They have like this new Direct format where it's like they get somebody out, like they had Koizumi and I forget Takahashi. Is that
that sounds
CEOs?
Right? They have both of them.
Yeah. So when I saw both of them, I was like, whoa, are we going to maybe talk about new hardware at some point during this? We didn't. I'm glad I didn't necessarily get too excited about that. just because that's pretty unusual. But it was like very Mario heavy, which now makes sense why Koizumi was there.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, Koizumi he's usually always like at this point now in directs is like the Mario guy. Whenever like a big Mario thing is there, he is usually the person that's like kind of showing it off. And like that definitely was like the vibe from all the big Nintendo announcements from this. Where like Mario, which like obviously makes tons of sense. We had the Mario movie just like a month or two ago, and that was like a huge hit. Now they can follow it up with a bunch of Mario games that people can now go buy on the Switch and check out for the holiday season.
So well, it's gonna be bonkers.
It's gonna be crazy for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, I had a great time. I enjoyed like all the Mario games that they showed. They, you know, I think the big announcements that they kind of set up were like definitely overshadowed almost everything in between. Which definitely felt like, okay, it's port and filler time, kind of between that. But you know, there were at least one or two standouts in those. The one that you didn't have here that I just want to shout out, and it can be what we can kick things off with, is Star Ocean 2 remaster / remake.
Which is an HD 2D remaster of that, which is interesting.
Which is like the first action RPG that's getting that treatment. And that's this November, I think. And that looked great as someone who's like always interested in classic action RPGs, action JRPGs specifically. But I mean, the thing, Mario RPG, we got to talk about it.
Yes, they're remaking the rumor was true. Yeah, I did see that. It was one of those weird ones where like it popped up so conveniently close to this announcement that like you know that kind of little rumor about this. Yeah, but that it was just like, oh wow, this feels like it's happening, like because it's just like the perfect storm moment. But yeah, we got it revealed that it's Super Mario RPG, the SNES Mario game, RPG game. That was kind of like the predecessor to like things like Paper Mario and Mario and Luigi in a lot of ways.
Yeah, the first Mario role-playing game.
It's getting it's getting like a basically like a major graphical remake. Like it seems like it is still largely like the same game and gameplay of all that game, but now it is just, you know, modern graphics, HD visuals, a lot of nice like a lot of updates to that kind of stuff. It was confirmed that Yoko Shimura is doing like the legendary composer is doing all the music for it, and you can kind of it's definitely that thing when you listen to the music in that trailer. As soon as you hear it, you're like, oh, that's my girl, she's doing it, let's fucking
she's doing it. I had the exact same thought of like, oh, this music is gonna be so hype. Oh my god,
it looks awesome. This is one of those games for me that like I've always wanted to play. It just never like lined up, and like whenever I'm like checking out games, and like I feel like, you know, there was that thing I know where like it never came to the Nintendo Switch Online, where I feel like if it would have originally, that probably would have been the moment I played it. But now I'm like almost so glad that like didn't happen, because now we're getting this.
Now you know why they didn't do that.
Yeah, exactly. and this just looks fantastic. I love the kind of visuals. I love that I love kind of like they are doing the modern visuals, but it's still very evocative of that original game, and just like the weird like chibi versions of all the characters, especially Mario, just looks so goofy. It's like he looks like a little like, you know, almost not as horrid as like a Funko Pop, but it's pretty close. But it's just like a little chibi Mario that I vibe with. In the update, they showed the box art, and the box art just looks so ridiculous because it was literally just like they just remade one of the old SNES box arts, where it's literally just like the character lineup, and it's just like an all white box. So it's just like all five of them just standing in this white void with the logo. It's just like, sure, why not? You know, that's fun.
This is so great. I love that they're preserving all of the original extremely weird enemy designs. You know, we get to see Mallow and Gino again for the first time in probably like 30 years.
You
know, we've all been like clamoring, or at least talking about Gino and Smash for so long, and obviously that didn't end up happening. But I love just seeing him come back in some way. Yeah,
being a relevant character in 2023, which I feel like a lot of people never thought would be.
A lot of people hoped though.
For sure.
Which is cool. all the weird bosses, all the dumb stuff, and like we've talked a lot about like Paper Mario and stuff, and how the reason partly we haven't seen a lot of kind of the weird fun designs implemented in Paper Mario is because like Miyamoto like cracked down on that, and yet we haven't seen that kind of erased from this game.
Yeah,
which gives me hope, because this game's definitely going to do really well just because the Mario movie came out this year. And it gives me hope that will loosen some of those reprimandums on character design.
They'll definitely loosen up, on that stuff, depending on like if this game sells well. And I think like the Mario movie in general, I feel like maybe let them kind of like loosen those ties in a way. I feel like because there were definitely a lot more like silly characters that like stood out in that compared to like other Mario stuff.
Totally.
At least the games. But yeah, it is like it's November release, so it is one of their bigger holiday releases. There's one other Mario game which we'll definitely get to, which is I think they're like Prime one, right? But like this is like right next to it. I think like you said, like just having the Mario name in and of itself will like mean this game sells like crazy well.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of people in a similar position to you, Mike, that have like never played this. I've not finished this game. I've like played about half of it myself, like 7 or so years ago, and then I've watched my older brother Brady play all of this when I was a kid, though. Nice. So I've definitely like experienced the whole thing. And yeah, I think this is going to reach a wider audience and kind of open that floodgate as to why the RPG Mario games are different than a lot of other JRPGs and are really cool and really special. So yeah, I'm excited, and it seems like they're adding like super moves and like some kind of combo system. Yeah, which is cool.
Yeah, it at least seems like they're making like when they do super moves, they have like this like cinematic thing that happens around them now, which like at least that's like the vibe like the trailer gave at least a little bit. It looks wonderful. I like the whole update to that. Yeah, that's definitely going to be a pickup for me day one. That looks so fun. And I'm happy it's happening.
Do you want to call it another standout?
Another standout for me, because this is like the one I was like surprised at how much more excited I feel after this, and that was Pikmin 4. Pikmin, that like the stuff they showed for that like actually made me like, okay, actually I do want to play this. Like I was kind of on the fence about it, where I'm just like, okay, yeah, more Pikmin. Like they had not really shown stuff that like made it seem like more interesting to me, and like what's kind of like the bigger thing, like where this one, what they showed in this direct was like the moment where I was like, okay, yes, like I like the idea of like you're finding like at least when it initially showed, it looked like they're just finding corpses of like spacemen out in the field, I was just like, Jesus, this is morbid. And then you find out that like you're like rescuing them, and then you're like basically building a base of operations kind of, and then you can use that to like upgrade your dog friend and like upgrade and get like different like upgrade abilities and power ups
upgrades
and stuff. So I always like stuff like that. That's really cool. And like, it gives you that kind of idea to like explore more and like have that vibe where I feel like a Pikmin game like didn't have that as much, where I feel like previous Pikmin games had more of like you had kind of your main objectives, right? And then you kind of would do that within the time limit you had, because you had to like be in and out within that certain time with day and night and stuff, where I feel like the idea that like you're going around like having more exploratory like style like gameplay by finding these characters and like saving them and finding upgrades and stuff sounds really cool.
And like they show, night gameplay is obviously a new addition to this, and there's like Pikmin that only show up at night, which is cool.
The
and the upgrades look cool. And it seems like they've got like a charge power that's like really strong.
That looks cool. So cool. You literally are like it looks like your character's making like a spirit bomb out of like Pikmin. It just like chucks it at this big flying one that's like destroying this like glowy energy like sap thing or whatever the heck it's supposed to be. And you just throw it in and they just like burst and explode and just take over. It just looks super fun. And like, I guess there's going to be like, they showed like Dandori battle. That's like, you're like fighting a weird hairy Olimar or whatever that was supposed to be.
Olimar's gone native.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Yeah, he's been made into a Pikmin.
This is my home now.
then made into a real Pinkman or whatever. Yeah, and it just that was like fun. I wouldn't be surprised that it actually turns into like an actual like multiplayer mode you could play against people or something. Because I know like Pinkman 3 had a little bit of like multiplayer stuff, so that just seems like a prime thing for that. Would that be really cool? Um, and yeah, and just like that stuff, and then like some of the environments just looked really cool. Like you literally showed you inside a house at one point. And
Yeah.
it's just like, what the heck does that mean for Pinkman? That's kind of crazy. Like, because that's never been a thing. Like, are you?
And it looks like pristine and clean in a way that things aren't.
I'm hoping
you know?
I'm just hoping like a normal ass human just shows up, and it's just like, and you're just like, what the fuck?
It's just one of the boss fights. You have to kill it.
Yeah, I just want actually I just want it to be like a Miyamoto's house. Like you're just in Miyamoto's house. It turns out the whole time.
Just playing with his kids in the backyard.
Yeah,
like,
he's just hanging out.
Very jolly.
He's just hanging out. And he's like, finally, you bought my game. It's been like 15 years I've been making this or some weird shit. And it's just like, yes.
I told you it was coming.
I'm here. I believe. But yeah, I went from not like looking at it and being like, okay, that's cool, more Pikmin, I guess, sure, to going like, okay, I'm actually gonna get this. Like, I want to play this. So like, it looks much more involved and has a lot more going on than I thought it would, and that's cool. So I'm in for Pikmin 4 now.
It moved the needle for me. I still probably won't end up picking it up just because there are too many great looking video games right now.
Yeah,
definitely. So it's kind of like
that
pick your poison. This definitely didn't help that. I was like, oh god, all of these are coming out. Like 3 of these games are coming out in November.
Yeah, there's like 3, and then like literally like the one of the games we'll talk about, the other Mario game, comes out the same day as Spider-Man 2 and the same week as Alan Wake 2. All 3 of those are the same week, and I'm just like, God, you're fucking killing me, man.
I know, but they all look so good in totally different ways.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
So I was also moved the needle on Pikmin 4. This definitely feels like one that's kind of circling back to some of the stuff that I liked about the original Pikmin.
Yeah, yeah. And also worth mentioning, I didn't put it in here, that today they shadow dropped today the first 2 Pikmin games, HD, like they're HD remasters, which they didn't really, I don't think they like explicitly said that in the thing, but they are like fully like HD ports of the first 2 Pikmin games are now on Switch, and you can just go buy them like now.
Do you know how much they are?
I think they're like, I think it's one of those, it's like the Bayonetta 1 and 2 thing. If you remember when, like, if you buy both of them, it's actually cheaper than buying them individually. I know that thing's going on. I want to say like it's like $40 if you buy both of them. Like,
and they're 25 each.
And they're like 25 or like 30 each, like on separately.
Yes, you are correct.
So,
$50. Yeah. Well, it's $50 for both.
Oh, okay.
And then it's, I think, 30 each for each individual.
Okay. Yeah. So that's okay though. But like, yeah, it's cool that they're HD ports of them as well. And yeah, it's like another just, now the whole entire Pikmin franchise will be on Switch by the time Pikmin 4 comes out, which I think is cool. Like, it's kind of surprising to like go from almost 0 to 100. I feel like from that. That's cool.
Just gotta get those Zelda games on there someday.
Yep. Someday.
Just gotta get it one of these days.
Yeah, it's definitely like, all amazing stuff here, but there's obviously still a few lingering things I think people were expecting here as this kind of like one of the last really big directs for the Switch, right? And then they didn't show up, and I think that those Zelda ports were definitely one of the things I feel like I saw people being like, is this going to be here? Is it time to finally get these 2 games on here? And then just nothing. I was like, oh, well, okay.
Everything they're doing with Switch, though, definitely gives me the inclination that your digital library is going to carry over to the next platform.
Yeah, especially the amount of games they have doing. Not to mention they are like remaking a lot of these really like fan clamored games to like remake them on the Switch and then just be like, all right, peace. Like that would be, they would get a lot of flack for that. Like putting freaking Mario RPG, the entire Pikmin franchise, like I just said,
Metroid
Prime games, are probably gonna be on here pretty soon. Like you said, like the majority of Zelda games are on here. Pretty much all the Metroid games are on there too, right? Besides the Prime games,
all
the 2D
besides
ones.
Other M and Prime,
Like if they did not carry over a lot of this stuff to whatever the new hardware would be, that would be a really bad move.
Yeah, the remake
push. They can't get away with it at this point.
Yeah, the remake push is what's making me feel that, like seeing Super Mario RPG remade and also Metroid Prime remade in the same year.
Yeah.
that definitely makes me leads me to believe that it's all going to carry over one way or the other.
Yeah.
So I'm less worried about the Zelda games.
Yeah,
it's just like, well, one of these days we'll get them.
Right, exactly. And also like another one is like a good point, like to be add on top of that is they showed right after they showed the Mario RPG remake, they showed like two really brief glimpses at like two new games that are coming next year, which is going to be a new Princess Peach like side-scrolling platformer kind of game. It couldn't really
so hyped.
Yeah, that's really cool, and you couldn't really fully tell what kind of game it was, but like it looked really nice. It looked like visually it looked really nice.
This is all you need to know. It's got the stage show presentation for Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah, I like that too. And then
she's got a ponytail.
Yeah, she did like some magical like Sailor Moon girl ass shit where she like gets like a big glowy blue dress and then it faded out. So you're just like, oh,
the third thing I was gonna say is there's magical girl transformations. Yeah, so this game could be perfect. Hopefully not problematic like the DS game.
Yeah, it's her. Yeah, that dress is gonna show her blue emotions, so she's happy. That's how she fights enemies. And then she's gonna get the red dress, and now she's mad, but she's super strong. I can't.
But that looks so good.
God, that'd be rough. But yeah, it did look really really promising from that. Then they also showed right after that they're doing an HD port of the 3DS Luigi's Mansion, which again I think it falls into your point of like they're doing the effort to port a 3DS game.
Yes,
particularly Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon to the Switch. Like if they're doing that kind of extra effort, like it'd be weird to do it like especially next year, probably sometime next year, either early next year or whatever, and then they have like a new console potentially next holiday. That would be pretty wild. And then these games come over and they're just like, all right, peace, see ya.
Yeah,
like that'd be weird.
Of course, anyone that's been listening to Nintendoland knows that Nintendo fucking got me because I bought Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon on the 3DS before the shop went down.
Like, sucker.
They got me, dude.
Yeah,
I spent
over
$40 on that.
now you can spend $40 again on Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, which I will because I'm a sucker.
But yeah, those are cool, and it's like cool to have like at least two little teases of like things that are going to be like next year. Like there's still going to be some Switch stuff next year, but it does feel like. But again, like even though like they both look, it's cool that they're both happening. Again, I think it also feels the thing I brought up at the start was like if they feel like swan song games for the Switch. You know what I mean? Where it's like it's not a new 3D Mario, it's a Princess Peach game, which like is cool because those rarely happen. But those are like I feel like the vibes of like kinds of games that come at like the tail end of a Switch cycle. Not to mention, I've also heard rumors that there's like another Fire Emblem remake also coming to the Switch soon.
Yeah,
like, and that's probably like another early next year.
I think it was Fates. Fates has been rumored, or not Fates. Awakening, the one that everybody likes. My favorite.
Yeah,
one.
I heard it was like an older one. It was like it had some crazy name. Like it was like genealogy something.
Sure.
But yeah, like ultimately, I have no idea what it was. I think there's like rumors that it was happening, like another Fire Emblem, and this is like a remake.
Fire Emblem
so
game did come out this year to remind everyone that has forgotten it is okay.
Yes,
that you forgot.
You forgot about Engage. Yeah, pretty much.
Engage. So don't forget to rub your rings.
Rub the rings, everybody. Don't forget. But yeah, like they still like they're still cool and exciting games, but it definitely feels like we're at the swan song where it's like HD ports and like games for more of the like side characters. It's not like we got Zelda this year, obviously, but like a lot of the other big players are getting like smaller entries that still cool, but they are not like it's gonna be like talked about.
Yeah, like. We got Breath of the Wild the year the Switch came out, and then we just got Tears of the Kingdom. It feels very much like bookends of like, here is what we knew thought we could do when we started on this hardware, and then here is like everything that we were capable of doing on this hardware.
Yep.
If that wasn't like clear sign enough to folks that like, okay, this is probably going to be like one of the last big
Yeah.
wholly original Switch games. And that's fine, you know, like
Yeah.
it definitely, like, you
Mm-hmm.
can see through the gaps here of like Princess Peach game, could be like the Yoshi team or whatever on that.
Yeah.
And Luigi's Mansion team potentially remaking Dark Moon, and then a 2D Mario that we'll talk about probably next. It's like, okay, 3D Mario, maybe a Zelda remake. These are things that you could launch on a new platform again, and it's like, okay, yeah, they're clearly gearing up for that. I feel.
Yep. For sure. Um, but yeah, I think yeah, we can talk about the next thing. Do you wish want to talk about Mario, or I know we have some other things
Yeah, I
here
want to
too.
talk about Mario.
But yeah, they kind of had their one last thing, and it was a new 2D Mario game, Super Mario Bros. Wonder. And man, it is like the most drug tripped ass Mario 2D platformer that I've ever seen, and I love it.
I love it.
Yeah, like they kind of went in on that. Like, you know, that's always been a joke where it's like Mario does shrooms, blah, blah, blah. But like this is like not some idiot who was like makes terrible T-shirts with those kind of things making it. This is like Nintendo like taking like a little bit of that weird trippy idea and like just having weird Mario stuff, and I think coming off of something like Odyssey, where it was just like a really like crazy Mario thing where they're like, you know, throwing him into frogs and hats and other things and crazy stuff. This feels like an extension of that, right? At least to me.
Yeah.
Where it's like, let's just get weird with it and have Mario just do some wacky stuff. We saw him he's in a shadow realm and he turns into a long Mario. Why not? There's a Goomba there too doing the same thing. You're just like, okay, sure. Why the fuck not? Cool. You see like a pipe that he's standing on like contract like a worm, like sliding across the ground.
Yeah.
You're just standing on it and you're just like, sure, yeah, okay, this is completely ridiculous and in the best ways. I loved it.
Yeah, I loved it too. And like the animations and like the way all the characters emote and stuff is like so gorgeous and so jolly.
I really like that too. Yeah,
just seeing like it is veering away from the new Super Mario style. It's a little flatter, and it's just got this like kind of hand drawn, like Mario's mouth like kind of moving to the side when he's running and doing the pipes.
Yeah.
And like there's just like those little touches that really stood out to me. And I'm watching the trailer again while we're talking about it. It's just, I appreciate that the whole first half of the trailer is just Mario by himself also, right? Like, I think when I saw this, I was expecting, they'll do the co-op again, because why not? You know, kids like that and stuff. But I appreciate that they're also, I feel like, sending a message of like, this is like a Mario game that you can play like a Mario game, you know?
Yeah, it's a Mario-ass Mario 2D Mario game. And I just love that, like, yeah, it feels more original, and like, you know, it has some of that new Super Mario Bros. Like in it a little bit. Like you can tell this is probably like that team that made those still, but it's clearly like letting them like not be like so constrained by like the like having to be like this very particular style of Mario, right? Like I think that like everybody, including myself, I was just kind of tired of that new Super Mario Brothers like style. It just felt like so like like, you know, word for it, but just like very kind of stale and like
a little
generic, and like too pristine. Where like this is like they're doing enough to like differentiate that and like kind of place this out and make this feel like more like an original thing. Like like you said, like having the characters be like having, you know, they show close-ups of Mario's face and he's like way more animated. He's literally has like you know, the scurrying cartoonish like cartoon, like he has 50 feet like running around when he's like running really fast. And he does like anime arm run, like it's great, like stuff like that. And like when he jumps, he like kind of like flings his arms out, and they like all the characters do that. Like it's just like it's way more animated in a cool way that I really like.
And you can play as like Daisy, Peach, Luigi. Like I love that is now
you can play as all of them, but like also it wasn't fully clear. But I watched back in the trailers, Yoshi is also playable. It's not just like, because if you look at like in the live counter in the one shot where Yoshi is, you can see like Mario and Yoshi as like separate like lives,
Oh yeah,
essentially.
I just
And
saw
then,
that.
and there's like another shot where there's 4 Yoshis all together playing at once, and one of them has like the crown, like it's being controlled like a character, playable character. So like Yoshi is also in the mix too. So maybe there's more playable characters besides these like 5 or 6, but like that's really cool that they have all these different characters, and it's like clear that they have like their different styles. Like, it looks they're clearly showing them like when like they had a little moment when they showed each of them, and clearly they had like their different like things going on, where like they still have like the Mario Bros style of like, looks like Peach can still kind of float a little bit, and like Yoshi had his flutter jump, and like it looks like Daisy's maybe
got
like
the high jump. Yeah,
Daisy maybe has like super strength or something. She's like pushing against like an enemy that's like pushing back against, like, I don't really know if that's her thing, or if like there's something else going on there. But yeah, that was really cool to see them all kind of have like their unique little things going on with all that.
And they're like injecting some of that 3D Mario flair of like different collectible things to get in each level. The world map is there. We see Bowser's ship, but we don't see Bowser, which I'm very excited to see what he looks like in this style.
Yeah, his crazy trippy Bowser. Okay, we have to. We have to talk about the elephant. Clearly, like,
yes,
they tease
literally the elephant in the room.
Yes, literally, where they literally end this trailer by just showing Mario pick up a new power up, and he turns into an elephant man. He's just an elephant with like Mario overalls on, and he just like kicks the shit out of a Goomba. And there's just like these flowers that can talk in the game for some reason. They're just like, oh my, and it's like, amazing. Yes, I want to see more of that. And that has a precedent. That means like all of the characters can turn into elephants, I guess, too.
Oh yeah,
like, that's
I didn't even think about that.
Right? Like there's just like a power up he picks up at the end. So I'd assume like you have like elephant, like Luigi and like Toad and
elephant
Peach and Daisy.
Let's go.
Like, what does that look like? What does that even mean? Like this game's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, it's so nice to be excited about a 2D Mario game.
Yeah,
because like
agreed. Yeah,
post Mario Maker 2, right? Like that really scratches like every itch I could have as someone who's like not super into Mario platformers. But then you see a bunch of pink Koopas on rollerblades. And I'm like, you got me.
Okay, back in. I'm back in.
Back in. Yeah,
back in.
just.
You made that pipe a worm. I'm in. Let's see what the fuck's up with this.
Yeah, what's with the worm pipe and the music blocks and the piranha planets with the little feet? Yeah, there's just so much here that's like delightful. I'm so pleased by this announcement. Yeah,
and that's definitely their big holiday. That's October 20th. Again, it's like I said, that was the game I said the same day Spider-Man 2.
Yep.
So yeah. Definitely a big, crazy year for video games this year for sure.
Wild year.
Yeah, this game just looks fantastic. A couple more things I had. I gotta have my Mario Kart moment here.
Totally.
Mario Kart 8. We got a tease for the next wave of DLCs. So they just showed one track, and it is a brand new track. This has not shown up in tour yet, or obviously it's not an old Mario Kart track. It's a new bathroom themed track where you're racing around like a giant bathroom. And let me see what this track's name is again.
Squeaky Clean Sprint.
Squeaky Clean Sprint. That's right. That's a good name. Good track name.
Yeah.
I like that name.
Very like Pikmin vibes. Those are like what I got from this.
Big. You're in a small characters in a big world. This track just looks really cool in general. Just I have watched this trailer a couple times now, and it seems like, at least from the vibe I'm getting, it seems it's very much more in line with like some of the other original tour track, which is like the Ninja track, where it is very like elevated and has like multiple tiers that you can go for different routes. Like if you kind of look around in the track, like there are multiple moments where like they show like this shot where the first shot in the trailer is like them coming off a glider ramp that is going over into like an aerial version of like the Mario like a new lap like race finishing line. So because you can see one's on the ground on the track, but you can glide through like one that's up in the air. So it seems like there's multiple routes to get to the finish line, and you can even see like when they're in the air, there's like another route even to like the right of them gliding that's like up on railings that's like has like boost pads and stuff. So there's like all kinds of like multi-layered things. Like you go into a big bathtub and then go into the sink itself and like
Yep.
race through like the sink and stuff. It's just
There's like big soapy bubble hazards like on some of the tiles and stuff.
yeah, very cool. Yeah, I love
So fun.
yeah, it's a fun, just like a totally different idea for a track because it's not been like there's the only other track that's been like this, which was like the one of the old Mario OG Mario Kart 8 DLC tracks was the Ribbon Road track where it puts you in like the big bedroom, which
Yep.
was like not really a thing that was like a like in the original GBA version of track was not really what it was going for, but they just kind of threw that in there, which is really cool. But this seems like it's more properly like you're in like actually driving around like a bathroom.
Yeah.
But obviously the other big thing they showed in this were new characters. So we're getting the 3 new characters with this wave. We're getting Petey Piranha. He's back, baby. Petey Piranha's
He's
in.
back.
The Wiggler, which was cool to see because Wiggler is not showing up since they said it's like they called out Mario Kart 7. Wiggler's not like been in tour or anything like that. So that's pretty cool. They just like brought him in, and then there's Kamek as well, which Kamek's also a cool get because they're in tour now. But I don't know if you ever saw, there was like really old, like it was in an old like Nintendo magazine or something. But originally for Mario Kart 64, Kamek was actually supposed to be a playable character in that. There's like literal beta screenshots where it shows like the Mario Kart 64 like character lineup. And I think instead of like Donkey Kong or maybe it was Wario, it was Kamek. Like Kamek was in there, like you had like a model and everything. But for whatever reason, they swapped it out for the final game. So like Kamek was like originally intended for that Mario game for Mario Kart 64, but then didn't finally come to Mario Kart properly till tour. Now they're putting him in 8, so that's cool.
Yeah, really cool. Good picks. Again, like we both we both brought up Petey Piranha because he's in Double Dash and King Poo came, so it was like that was obvious. But like you said, like Wiggler and Kamek are cool Mario picks that I would not have thought of. So
yeah, I didn't expect them either. Like I expected like Diddy Kong and like some other characters that have showed up
which
a lot more.
we'll probably still get.
Yeah, because there's still 2 more characters which will be with the final the 6th wave. This is the 5th wave, though. We just got the 1 track, but obviously there will be 7 other tracks. And we just got like a general summer. So I'm guessing that's probably either I would say like later in July or maybe even early August would be my guess at this point. Then if they're not giving us a date now.
Yeah. Although they could just tweet out it comes out next week.
Yeah, for sure.
Tomorrow.
Yeah,
so.
that's also sometimes something to do it too. That's for sure. But yeah, it's really cool. I had a weird dream prediction. I know like this, this would probably be like maybe potentially disappointing with some. But I think like the potential for an additional DLC pass is plausible after the 6th wave comes out, just because there is a ton of tracks that are being made for tour at this point, and like there's like we've already passed the critical mass point of like there's just a bunch more being made that are like new, like within like a week, like the most like past couple weeks like / months that like are just not going to be able to be in this wave or the next wave. And like they're clearly making all this effort to like remake of so many of these tracks that like one, it sure could just be for a new future, like the next whatever the next big Mario Kart is after this. I think it's also still possible that they could just be making them for like another DLC wave that comes after this.
Totally. I think it's definitely possible.
Yeah.
They could also be making them for a future Mario Kart game. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. It could be either or for sure. Like, just getting ready to just have them all maybe in a modern engine and Mario Kart 8 engine, right? Instead of having them be just in tour.
Yeah. Another game that I think would make a lot of sense to launch new hardware with is a Mario Kart game, considering it's one of the best selling games ever, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So
yeah, for sure. But yeah, looking forward to that as always stoked for more Mario Kart DLC or just Mario Kart in general. That looks awesome. The last thing, like another surprise announcement we got here was a new WarioWare game.
Yeah, did not see this one coming at all.
Yeah, we got a second WarioWare game on the Switch. It's like, and to be fair though, like that, I feel like that first one was like did not really get a lot of hype, and I feel like it definitely came and went. I feel like a lot of people were not vibing with like the like whole like switch it or whatever. I forget what it was exactly called, but I knew it had like multiple characters, and you're using them. So it was like a cool idea, but I think it just was not really.
It wasn't like a traditional, like it had a gimmick that was universal throughout all of the mini games, which kind of changed the fact that it was a WarioWare game. This is like, no, this is wild. Get ready.
This feels like I saw a lot of people reckoning this to like the Wii WarioWare, which apparently a lot of people like. Or smooth moves.
Smooth moves, yes, you're right.
Yeah, I know. And this seems like it's way more in line with that. Like, it is kind of more directly a follow up to that. So I saw a lot of people stoked for it from that part. And yeah, some of those did look fun. Like I'm not fully in on like I never really liked the weird motion controls to Joy-Con thing. So I'm hoping maybe it's not all of that, but even so, like I still think this one looked better than that other one did for sure for me, when it was just like seeing the dude dancing, shaking him over his head was fun, and then just seeing like doing the Mario 64 slide and like moving your arms left to right to move Mario around just looked fun. So yeah, all that stuff fun. I love the horrifying Wario train that had big biceps and Wario face like Thomas the Tank Engine. That was amazing to see as well. So yeah, again, another video game for this year. I think that was October or November that comes out.
I think it's November as well. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Another freaking video game for this year. Surprising. Still a couple more announcements here. Detective Pikachu returns. It is real. The sequel, Detective Pikachu.
This game was like announced like 5 years ago.
Yeah, I know. They said they were bringing Detective Pikachu to Switch, the first one, and also a sequel was in development. And I still don't think the first game is on Switch, but now we're getting this one. Yeah. Now we're getting this one finally. And yeah, it looks all right. Like I never played the first game, so I don't really have the reverence for it. I did watch the movie. I like the movie, so yeah, it's cool though. I'm sure I'll be curious to see like what people think about it when it comes out. But
$50 game. We don't have to get upset about this.
But yeah, I don't know if I'll check it out personally. But yeah, yeah, those were what I would consider pretty much all the big announcements, right? But there were a couple other cool things. I don't know if there's anything before we got into those. If there was anything else you wanted to shout out? That's
just that the Star Ocean 2 that we talked about earlier. That looks really cool. I think that's this year as well, and I will definitely check that out at the very least. But yeah, everything else generally, I think you got covered here in this list.
So yeah, a couple other standout things I had here was they started the show off with the Pokemon DLC. We finally get to see what they look like more in game. I will admittedly say like it did not really wow me, if I'm just being honest. I don't know how you feel about it though, as the now Pokemon convert.
Absolute sick fuck that I am. I thought the whole time while watching this was, I'm gonna play the shit out of this.
I'm gonna go check out that Nintendo 64 ass looking monster mouth mountain. Let's fucking go.
Yes, dude. I absolutely had that thought. Looks so fun. I love the like island that's segmented into fucking 4 zones.
Yeah, like it's like the second
My Hero
DLC.
Academia.
Yeah, you're like in
one place.
That did look cool. It's like a strip, just terrarium, I think they were saying, and it's like literally 4 sectioned like different areas where it's like a desert, like an ice zone and stuff. Yeah, that looked fun, and like sure, why not? Like let's fuck it, let's mess around with that stuff. Yeah, it was for me. It was like it still looked too much like Scarlet and Violet, which I had a tough time playing. Maybe they'll still, maybe these DLCs will bring some updates to maybe make them run a little better. Unfortunately, I don't think that'll be the case at this point, but it looked fine. And like one thing that made me laugh though was just how weird some of the camera shots in these trailers were. It was like they like were like panning around some of these Pokemon like they were like fucking cars. It was just so weird. Like that, I feel like they've never done that. Like I feel like when they show new Pokemon in other trailers, maybe they've done this before. I don't know for sure, but like just in this trailer, I don't know why it felt so weird, but maybe it's just because they had like shown them a lot of these ones before, like just like in like usually just like art, like hand drawn art or whatever of them.
Yeah.
But like it just I don't know, it just felt weird when it was just like slow panning around this Pokemon's like tail or like whatever the fuck body part it was. You couldn't even tell. Like it was like some like sports car, and it was like, what is happening? Pokemon, man.
Yeah, I was just it. It is so weird, dude. Like, because this is like the first Pokemon trailer since like the Pokemoning of 2023 has happened to my life.
Yeah.
And like seeing Pokemon that like and knowing like almost all the Pokemon and like just having that experience and like seeing things in this trailer and being like, oh, they're not in the Scarlet and Violet Pokedex.
Yep.
Like,
yeah,
knowing that
those are new.
is like just a really surreal experience for me. But again, I'm super into it. We'll probably talk about it later, but they just updated Scarlet and Violet in June to support the Pokemon Bank, so I've been like, I played around with that earlier and stuff. So
nice.
So I now have a mass of 500 Pokemon that I have at Pokemon Home.
Hell yeah.
And then swapping them around and bringing them into Scarlet and Violet, like leveling them up to level 100 and stuff. Like I'm so stoked to, because I assume with these updates they will open the gates to some more Pokemon available from home.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I'm stoked to like have my squad of like all regional Pokemon and all legendary Pokemon and stuff, and go do these DLCs. Like that's really fun for me.
Yeah, for sure. That was a lot of the fun I had with a lot of older Pokemon games too. So yeah, I totally get that. But yeah, Pokemon DLC. That's like also like end of the
still not dated. Yeah.
Yeah. So they said fall and winter. So they're like, oh, come on, I guess pretty close to each other compared to the other ones, which is not bad, I guess.
Yeah.
After that, we got another announcement from the direct here was a Metal Gear Solid collection. Basically, it looks like it's just ports. It's not like HD remasters or anything crazy like that.
Yeah, this was announced right after Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater Delta.
Was announced. Oh, was it? Okay, nice.
Yeah. This though did specify that it includes Metal Gear 1 and 2, and then also Metal Gear NES and Metal Gear 2 Snake's Revenge NES, which were not specified in that initial announcement in the PlayStation Showcase in May. So that's good, and obviously like those have like kind of callbacks to Nintendo and stuff. But yeah, the first time Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3 are ever appearing on a Nintendo platform, which is a win in my opinion.
It's pretty cool. It feels like they would be fun. Something would be fun to play these on Switch. I will probably. I will probably. I don't know if I'll get this on. I mean, if I'll get it on Switch, but I definitely will be probably getting this just because it's like I feel like I've played all of these, but it's been a long time, and so like the idea of maybe replaying them at some point sounds fun, and also and then having them on like a modern console to do that easily, like sounds good. I'm here for
totally.
That. I'm here for that, so that's cool. I think that's October as well. That's out.
Yeah, that got a date. It's October 24th, which it didn't have a date before. And this is like the volume 1 of the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection. Was
volume 1, so I'm sure we'll get probably 4, maybe
4, and then like the remakes of 2 and 3. Because these are like the original versions. It's not Subsistence or Substance for 2 and 3.
Maybe they'll be in another one. Cool.
Acid would be cool as well, though.
Yeah, definitely be another volume of those for sure. Another one which I thought was pretty cool was Penny's Big Breakaway.
Yeah,
this looked really cool. This was like I love because I did go watch some reactions like while I was like after I had watched it myself. I went and watched reactions while I was doing work today and kind of had it on the background. It was funny every time this came up and like they showed it and everyone was just kind of like okay, and then he goes from the creators of Sonic Mania, and then everyone goes oh shit, yeah, literally everyone, even myself, I totally had the reaction too.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So it was just very funny to see that was like the immediate reaction of everybody else for it. So it's like, is this gonna be a 3D platformer? Yep, made by the Sonic Mania team. This is why everybody being like, "Where's Sonic Mania 2? Why is Sonic Super? Why are we getting Sonic Superstars and not Mania 2 or whatever?" It's because they're making this, and it looks awesome. Like
Yeah.
it's like I love this idea of like you have like a yo-yo. It's like a grappling hook when you're using it to like fight, but also like grapple onto points and like traverse around and like through these environments. And yeah, it just looked really cool. I dig the vibe of it. It looked like one of the most like Sega Genesis ass like modern
Yes.
video games ever, just from like because of the color palette and some of the visual stuff going on. Yeah, it's really cool.
They got these 2D animated cutscenes and stuff that they show off too.
Yeah, super into it. That's early next year, I think, is what they said in the direct.
Yeah. Also worth because you brought it up, like how fucking rad is it that we're getting a 2D Mario and a 2D Sonic game both this holiday?
Yeah, and they're like weeks apart, like not even.
And they both like look awesome.
Yeah, they have cool like modern kind of visual styles to them, and they're like both like the whole multiplayer aspect to them as well. Yeah, it's cool. Like I'm very curious. Like I'm sure people will make comparisons to them, of course. So I'm curious that where that'll be, and just like ultimately, like for me, it's like I know like my nephew's gonna be super stoked for the both of these, so I'd be more curious to be him being like, yeah, this is sick, like Sonic and Mario and stuff, like that'd be cool. Totally. Last one I wanted to point out because again, the Japanese direct got some goods that we did not get.
I'm so glad you pulled this, dude, because this is so hype.
Yes, yeah, I know, because I saw it on Twitter and what just like it blew my mind. Basically, what this is like basically a spiritual successor style game to the Mystical Ninja Goemon games. The main one to point out is like the N64 one, but the thing is like it's even more so that because this is the development team that worked on this apparently made I think it was also Japanese only, but there was a Goemon game that came out on the DS that was more like in the style as well that I don't think it ever came out, and that's the team that's making this. It's like this is like awesome. Actual Goemon, like it is truly like a full-on like spiritual successor to that. It's the same team that has like worked on those original games. I Google Translate the name, but I'll quickly do it here real quick. Google Translate. It is Fairy Tale Play Mama Tanuki no Buckle Festival of Oracle Festival Taro. That's what it translates to at Google. But yeah, it looks cool. It's like a 3D action kind of platformery game. It's straight up like those games. I'm assuming it's not coming here to the US. Like I saw no indication of it being also in the US. So that's like the first time I've ever been like, man, I'm gonna have to import this game or set up a Japanese eShop account or some weird shit to play this, because I actually really want to play it because it looks cool.
This looks super cool.
Yeah. But yeah, that was in the Japanese direct. There's a couple other things in the Japanese one that wasn't in this one, but they weren't as cool as that. Where it was like they showed more of like that weird style savvy game and something else too. But that was the big one for me that I was like, holy shit, that looks cool. Can't believe they're doing that. But yeah, that was overall that was the directs though. All the information we got from the direct. There's a couple other things in there that were, a lot of stuff we already knew about. Some of it was like, not super interesting, admittedly to me at least.
Yeah.
But
a lot of ports too.
A lot of ports.
Batman Arkham collection is
Batman. Yeah, sure, why not? Like I know there was some rumor of that like years ago, and they're finally doing it. There's like smaller other things too, but admittedly they're not like things I would immediately be like, I'm gonna play this on my Switch. Like I'm actually like Fae Farm was in this again, and that's been like a couple of showcases. I'm actually kind of really interested in that. Like I'm not always super into farm games, but I know that one's like vibing with me from what I've seen and heard people talking about it. So that was in here. That still looks cool, and there's like some other games like that as well.
There was one that I was like, I hope this is on other platforms because this could be cool on other platforms. It was like the very like human looking character models one.
Like Palia or whatever it was. But that could be interesting as well.
The only thing I was surprised wasn't there was Fantasy Life.
Right, yeah, the Fantasy Life they're doing,
which is allegedly coming out this year. But yeah, no update on that. I was really
Yeah.
thinking we would get a release date here, but I mean it's not too late. Like they could, if they do a September direct, they could potentially mention it, or that could easily be like a just put the trailer on Twitter type deal.
Yeah,
But
just tweet that out for sure. Yeah, for sure. And I think like, you know, I think like largely besides that though, like I feel like we're pretty much feel like we're locked in pretty well for the year, right? Like there's a few things that we still know, but most of it's like kind of like DLC stuff, right? Like it's like
yeah,
there's the Splatoon 3. There was like they talked about a Splatfest that's like this week or something, but they didn't talk at all about that DLC, which I found kind of surprising. But like I'm assuming that's still this year at some point.
yeah,
Um,
I think so.
so that was not here, but like I'm sure that'll be here this year. I'm trying to think of like other than that though, like I think this is pretty much everything Nintendo's got for rest of this year. And I'm looking forward to pretty much most of it,
It's a
surprisingly.
good lineup, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not only do you got like kind of guaranteed hitters like Pikmin 4 like and Mario, but you've got like WarioWare in the mix
Yeah,
and some fun smaller stuff like Star Ocean and stuff. Like that's what a good lineup they've got.
yeah. Switch is still kicking here. And the year 6 of the Nintendo Switch, I think there's still a lot of really good games, and we'll still get a couple more probably early next year. But we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, and I think there'll probably be a September direct for sure to give us a couple more things and maybe some other things that come early next year. That makes sense to me for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
great show. I'm
Great show.
feeling better about it even after talking about it now.
Yeah, yeah,
Just
yeah,
like there might not only have been like 5 or 6 like big standout games, but they like really stood out, I think.
yeah. And they all seem just like, and they're all like ones I like want to play. Right,
Yeah.
like there's always definitely been times where it's like, okay, yeah, they have like this whole long Xenoblade moment or like Fire Emblem thing, and like I'm sure there's people who love that, and I'm just sitting here just like, okay, sure, yeah, whatever, and I move on. Where I'm like, every big announcement here, where it's like, boom, Super Mario RPG, yep, want to play that, yep, want to play a new Mario game, want to play Mario Kart DLC, want to play Pikmin 4,
Yeah.
want to play like want to get the Metal Gear Solid thing, want to get this, want to get that. Like there was a lot more games where they were specifically for me where I'm like, yep, I want to play this. This looks awesome. I'm stoked. Um,
Yeah.
so I like this direct a lot.
The Mario Direct, the unofficial Mario Direct of 2023.
That's right. Finally, Mario got his direct.
We were kind of like waiting for it. Remember when they did, what was it, like April? When was the last Direct?
I mean,
March?
I think it was like March or February, right? Yeah.
We were like expecting them to have like a bunch of Mario games because the Mario movie was coming out. They were just waiting a couple months to tell us
Yeah,
about
they
it.
just kind of waited and let the
Pretty smart.
let the Mario movie kind of have its own moment and kind of build up all the positive Mario vibes, and then they just went like, oh yep, here's like basically three big Mario games out the holiday, plus Mario Kart DLC and all this other stuff. So like, Mario. It's good
Hell
stuff. But yeah, that was the Nintendo Direct. We have a couple quick news bits that happened outside of the Direct earlier in this. First up, I grabbed this here this is an interesting one. Square Enix quietly re-released the primed the kind of horribly failed or not horribly failed, maybe too harsh, but just the rough release of a certain kart racing game, Chocobo GP, which we covered here on Passions, just a few points of it, where I spent $40 getting the actual version of the game that you can play properly, just to have to go buy a bunch of battle passes and other crap to unlock stuff, and like it clearly it kind of came and went. Like it did not do well. Like I think it had like I remember when I booted it up, they were talking about it having seasons, and I don't even know if they got through like 2 seasons. But by the time they're like, yeah, we're not doing anymore. This is over. But yeah, they ceased content development on it, and then like straight up just like shelved it, and then like let me link that sure, but I think it was like this. It was like only like a few days ago. Updated with a release date of June 15th, so it came out like a week or two ago. and they re-released it, and now it is just you can now just earn stuff and unlock everything in the game, and there's no there's no buying battle passes, there's no like buy like the actual like mobile game style, like you bought mithril currency that you could then like buy things like other things in the game. Now it is all just you just play it and you unlock it, and you can unlock Cloud and not have to buy a whole ass battle pass just to get Cloud and like stuff like that. So yeah, sure, weird. They just did this, and like
Messy.
no fanfare to it. Like didn't announce it. Like I found out about this from just like people like posting it on Twitter and like links. Like the link I have here, I'll read some of this. I pulled a Nintendo Life article from Liam Doolin. So he says, now in the latest development, the eShop listing the U.S. Let's see, here we go. At the end of last year,
they changed the release date of the same eShop
yeah.
listing to June 15th.
So yeah, I'll read his words here. At the end of last year, Square Enix announced its racing title, Chocobo GP, received no further large-scale updates, and that would discontinue sale of the paid currency Mithril in January 2023, which allows players to spend real money to unlock additional content. Now, in the latest development, the eShop listing in the U.S. for Chocobo GP has been updated with the release of June 15th, 2023. That's last week. So what's going on here? Well, it seems to be connected to Chocobo GP Lite, which was recently delisted.
Yep.
Users, so that basically now you can't get the free version anymore. Now you have to buy the $40 or it's a $50 version.
Open the free version, it's like all right, now you have to pay for this.
Now you have to go pay for this. Wow. Actually, I'm kind of curious now what would happened if I did.
I need to know what happened if you opened it.
Yeah, I do need to. I actually should.
If it asks you to pay $50, Mike, we have to say something.
Yes, you're right. You're right. Yeah, I need to do this. Here, hold on. Real time. Hold on.
Yeah, let's do it real time. Yeah. Just reading the article.
Let me turn my Switch on, turn my TV on. I might need to download the game. So we'll see.
Maybe we can find out by the end of the episode.
Yeah. We will circle back to that as I sit here and quickly load up my Nintendo Switch. But yeah. So here we go. I'll keep reading here. Nintendo Life revisited the latest version of the Final Fantasy themed racer and can confirm you are now able to unlock characters like Cloud Strife without having to worry about purchasing a season pass or forking out any real money. Instead, you can get him with 50 tickets. Other characters, items, and unlocks are also available with the tickets and Gil. Both of these currencies can be obtained by clearing missions and leveling up across multiple modes in Chocobo GP. As you can see in the screenshot, the Mithril shop has been completely removed, with just the ticket and Gil shop remaining. So yeah, there you go. It has like a screenshot of
Imagine if this game launched like this.
Yeah. People would have been way more into it. Like
too little, too late.
Yeah, definitely that for sure. Like I'm definitely have multiple minds of like the idea of like hey, having like additional content come to the game over time, like that's cool. Like that would have been nice because I definitely remember playing it. It was very light, and like a lot of the tracks that were there were just like they would have like literally like multiple like basically it was like they had like a theme of an area where it's like here's this place from Final Fantasy like 7 or 9 or whatever, and they would just have like different layouts in that same thing. So it'd just be like a tile set, so to speak, if that makes sense. Where it would just be like, here's like a fully original stage here, but then it would just be this generic, like here's Chocobo circuit, and it's like a generic like race circuit looking thing, and it would just have like 4 variants of that you would just like race through, and it was slightly different each time. And like that was kind of a lot of the racetracks in that game, so it was just like,
Yeah, a big no thank you.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too, where it's just like I don't understand why kart racing games besides Mario Kart like get done so dirty like this.
Yeah,
like, this is not
so
like the
silly.
only. This is like not the only. Like Chocobo GP is definitely like the prime example, but there are other weird kart racing games that like do the same thing where they like are like Disney Speedstorm, which me and Quinn Hoffman did a viewpoints for a few weeks ago. Like I think it's even longer than that, and it's like it released in early access, but you have to pay for the early access to get into the early access version. But it still has all like the mobile game purchasing stuff. You can get a battle pass, you can get all this stuff, and then the game is in its early access seasons. And then I guess at some point it will go free to play when it goes into 1.0 version or whatever. But you still have to like buy into it to then get the access to buying a battle pass or like skins or currencies that are like based like a mobile game. It's just like it's so weird, and like it's like why did this game need any of this? I don't understand.
Yeah, I of all video game genres to be predatory, kart racers, which were made for children, probably shouldn't be on the list.
Yeah, exactly. It definitely feels very predatory. All right, I'm currently putting I'm putting my password into my Nintendo Switch because I do need to re-download Chocobo GP. I have to like go find it in my Switch.
Somewhere in the dark corridors of
yep, there it is.
Your Switch library.
Download started.
Excellent. Soon we will know.
Yep. All right. How am I gonna close Zelda?
The other news story that you pulled here, though, I'll get the ball rolling on here.
Yes.
Nintendo was like, all right, we're not going to put this in the direct because it would be a bad idea, but here's the trailer for everybody's 1-2 Switch that comes out in like 3 days.
That's right. We couldn't escape everybody's 1-2 Switch. They had to show it at some point, and it's amazing that they literally put this out like randomly at like 9:00 at night. The night before they are putting on a Nintendo Direct for their summer, like the big summer Nintendo Direct. They just put this out, and it is a fever dream of this thing.
So weird,
because they basically the whole setup is they invited 16 content creators out to like some hotel ballroom to play this. And like I don't know about you, like not to say I'm like a savant of like knowing content creators, streamers, whoever. I didn't recognize a single person in any of this.
Me
like,
either.
So like it's just like it just seems like it's a bunch of random people, doing content creators, like showing people making selfies. There's literally like the horse, a dude in an actual horse mask suit comes out, and he's like clapping for them. And he's like, "Hey, check out this thing." And I feel like I'm watching like a cult video, partially partway through it, because you're just like showing them weird mini games,
and then they like drop a curtain, and there's like a bunch more people.
It's like whoa.
Yeah, this is like as good. It's like as good as a trailer as probably this game deserves, which is to say, not a good one.
Yep, it's about as much as it can get. So, and it's like it's showing people using like mobile phones and other things like that as well to like do stuff, and it's like, it's exactly what you'd expect. This is going to be a thing. Yeah, bro. You said it's out in like 3 days, and I truly did not even realize it's out.
It's the 30th. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Oh God, this fucking game.
But you know what, Nintendo, to be fair, I appreciate that they know that this is a train wreck that they spent a lot of money on, and they're not like souring their great Nintendo Direct by like having this there.
Let's just get this shit out, man. Come on. Like,
well, we talked about this story, I think, on here like a few months ago of like they had made this game, and they like internally delayed it because they thought it was so bad that it would like
they straight up just didn't want to put it out because it was so bad for his reputation. Good Lord,
all makes sense. Oh,
yeah, insane to see this. Shown this way, and I kind of love it. And like, at the end of the day, like I'm sure, like there will be some other actual creators that I watch regularly, like make stuff about this game, and I'll be fascinated to watch this. But I'm never gonna play or touch this game myself. But that was interesting to say the least. To happen. God, that game's out in like a few weeks. And we're gonna.
Yep.
I know this is gonna be the best part about it. It comes out in a few weeks, and I guarantee we're gonna completely forget about it by the next time we do another
Yeah.
episode of Trip to Nintendoland.
Absolutely.
We're just not even gonna talk about it the next
I'm
episode.
never gonna think about this game again after
Yeah,
tonight.
pretty much. Like we're just never. It's never gonna come up again. It's just in the ether. God, amazing. But yeah, that's all the news we have for this. Go ahead. The direct, yep, was awesome.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff with Chocobo GP and everybody wanted to switch though. Everything else is so weird.
That's some wild. I'm so glad you pulled those stories because that's some wild stuff.
Yeah. But yeah. Yeah, let's get it. How about do we get into some games we're playing? But to play a little bit of stuff. You know, we can do a little bit of a Tears of the Kingdom check-in. I think I know if you've like had your moment. I think you more or less were finished with it. I don't know if you played any more of it or did anything else, but
yeah, definitely played more. I just like hanging out in Hyrule. Obviously plenty of places in the depths that I've not been to yet still. I started a second save just to not necessarily play through the whole game again, but I wanted to play with the Pro HUD because I didn't play with that on my first playthrough. And I really you put 170 hours into it one way and then you kind of play it a different way. And it's like, oh yeah, this is why this way is also like really, really good in a totally different way of just letting your eyes take you where you want to go instead of like me kind of constantly checking the map and thinking about efficiency, which I tend to overdo just because I play games like really, I try to be really efficient. Yeah. And, sometimes it's okay to just put that shit aside and just like get lost for a while.
Yeah. I'm 100% with you. Like that's usually how I am. Very meticulous with games. Like we'll talk about it with another game that I have on my list here. But like Tears of the Kingdom was like the one where like I think for like the first like it was probably like at least like 40, 50 hours. I literally just was like just doing things trying to do it like naturally as possible, and just like, oh, I'm just gonna wander around here and just fuck around with stuff, or like, oh yeah, I guess I could do this quest now. Let me just start it and see where it goes, and maybe I'll come back to it. And like, I just kind of was nonchalant about it. Of just like, oh yeah, I kind of did this, but now like, oh yeah, I can go over here. Let me just like walk around. Like I didn't really go like, all right, I need to figure out like I need to be doing all these shrines to get as many hearts as I can to start. Like, I really didn't start doing that till like I got deeper in, and I found myself liking a lot of those aspects of like that early. I had a lot. I think I had like loved the game all the way through, but I think when I was doing that, I was having way more fun with it of just being like, yes, let me just figure stuff. Let me just do stuff at my own pace. Let me just like fuck around, do weird shit in these puzzles with like make weird Korok torture contraptions where I can let me just sit here and make weird massive catapults that I can launch them and see how close I can get them to like the other things, or do this. Let me just try and make flying contraptions to try and get to this other sky island, and 9 times out of 10 they fail miserably because they just don't have enough battery that early on in the game. And it was just fun to just like kind of fuck around more with it than anything.
So it was cool to like revisit it from the beginning again. I did the opposite order of like the Great Sky Islands, which was really fun, and I like that they have a path laid out for you to do that as well. That is like different and way more challenging and rewarding in a different way.
Cool.
And like getting Ascend first instead of getting Ultra Hand first, and like basically doing the whole tutorial without Ultra Hand is like super weird and like totally different, and it has just a different vibe. It was really cool. And yeah, like I did a bunch of like I did like the whole big almost like mini dungeon under the starter area, like the starter town, the hidden royal passage. Like I did that from the castle backwards, like before I even got the paraglider. Awesome. And I was like, it was just fun to just like do that and like have like this weird non-paraglider, Tears of the Kingdom segment that was like totally different and had me thinking about how to approach challenges in a different way and fighting enemies in a different way. And yeah, just like kind of going off and doing stuff and like after I did that for a while, I jumped back into my regular save and then switched on the pro HUD mode. And I was like, let me just fuck around. Found a Goron at the bottom of a chasm that like wanted me to like take a ball as far as I could take it.
Yeah.
And I was like, how did I not find this, in my 170, 180 hours I put in this game already? And it's like, yeah, just, I in a year from now, I'm going to start probably a fresh save and just replay that game from start to finish again. And I am looking forward to it more and more every day. Like that's how just pure magic, the video game. I can't. Greg Miller put it really, really well on their Gamecast when they were talking about it. Like this whole game is the secret behind the waterfall. Like everything in this game is just that. And it's what a magical experience.
Just constantly finding things. Yeah, absolutely. I was really into it as well. Like I was kind of doing like, I finished the main story stuff and I was kind of doing a little bit more cleanup of like doing a couple more extra more side quests and things. And I still have stuff I could go do, but a lot of it is just like you go take pictures of these things and for the stables or whatever. Go do these smaller things. And like I probably will do that kind of stuff at some point, just when it's like when I kind of want that, like, I want that like that itch again of just like, oh, I just want to go hang out in Hyrule for a little bit. Like I'll probably jump in and do these things here or there. But yeah, I did like some bigger things. Like I did finally go like fight Gleeoks and stuff, and I just went like on basically like a Gleeok hunt essentially, where I just was like running around, just like going to finding. Because I usually would remember where they were, because I would always see them and be like, I don't want to fucking fight this thing yet, fuck this. And then finally I just like went around and just started fucking them all up, and it was really fun. And like I even liked that, like even like within them, where it's like one fight with a fire Gleeok will be completely different from another one, because there's one where it's like up on a big pedestal and you have to figure out how to like puzzle around that kind of scenario and stuff, which is really cool. I did like go up into more of the like sky islands that are very clearly like they're like way like distant, and like they use like big ass arenas, so I kind of figured like, okay, I'm not gonna fly there and fight some fucked up shit on these islands. And
it's
I finally
King Gleeok,
I just flew out there and just found my first King Gleeok. Yeah, fuck that guy. It was intense. It was a cool fight. I'm glad I did it, and that helped me get like the pictures and stuff for the monster quest and stuff, which was really fun. I did go get all the bubble gems. I did do that.
Nice.
That was really fun to see your friend turn into the horse. And then go back to his brother, and his brother's being like, "Oh, cool, whatever. That was nice of him. All right." And it's like nonchalantly.
I'm so happy for him.
Nonchalant. Yeah, it was like it was fun. So yeah,
what a great game.
Yeah,
the King Gleeok fights. Stellar. I love that the Gleeoks are clearly like their own thing, because they have their own music that plays when you fight them.
Yeah.
It's different, and it has like this different like we talked about, I think last episode, like there's like damage phase sound and like attack phase sound. Just like I love that they put that in there. I spent a lot of time like trying to find as many of the world bosses as I could. So I have like the badge for killing all the Molduga, killing all the Gleeoks, and I'm like really close to the one for doing all the, I think it's the Froxes, the big frogs that are underground that will eat bombs and stuff. That I love. That's where I'm at, where I'm like, I have like 10 quests left total, and I'm like probably gonna complete them all at some point. And I have thought about potentially getting all 1,000 Korok seeds, just for the sake of saying that I did it and that I 100%ed Tears of the Kingdom. Could be a thing that like I'll probably do over time, like not necessarily all at once, but
same.
I love that the game is so rewarding and fun enough that I just want to do that,
Yeah, it's just easy to like just kind of sink back into when I want to. Yeah, and I definitely plan on going back to it at some point. But now we're getting some other video games for now. And one I picked up and just kind of played through in a weekend, because again, I brought up briefly, Alan Wake 2 was shown off during the summer game mess, and I don't think it'll be on Nintendo Switch. And honestly, even if it does come to Nintendo Switch, I don't know if I'd play this game.
It'll be the cloud version, most certainly.
Yeah, if anything, because we did get like Control and some other Remedy games as cloud stuff. But yeah, it was one of the things where I saw that trailer and got like super, and I was just like, fuck yeah, I'm really into the vibes of this. I'm so stoked for this
Yes.
game. And then remembered I was actually like one of those things where I was originally going to check out Diablo 4 just because I knew that was like, a lot of people were talking about it, and it was like I was like, okay, once all the game announcement like, mess and stuff happens and I can like sink back into a game without being distracted by all the game news, I'll jump into this. And then they saw Alan Wake and went like, you know what? Alan Wake Remastered is $30, and I'm in, and I just played through all of it like in a weekend, and that's still a decent video game. Like I definitely, you definitely feel the age on it a little bit, right? Like I still had a good time with it, but you can definitely tell like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, this is an Xbox 360 video game. Um, but yeah, I still had a great time with it. I'm glad I went back to it just like to remember a lot of aspects of it because I had not played it since probably the Xbox 360 when it came out, basically.
Yeah.
So it was cool to like come back to it and like remember just like a bunch of random stuff. And like I remember like sequences I completely forgot about where you're like, going through the crazy shadow realms and like, having these like scenes where, like this like the whole sequence when you're like in the mines and stuff. I've completely forgot
Yep.
about that stuff, and I completely forgot about like the crazy Doctor Man, which was like turned into the crazy Freako that you fight in the Control DLC. And I was like, oh right, that's right, that is that thing. Because it also led me into like the, hey, I'm sure there's some crazy YouTuber that's out here making a bunch of lore videos on Alan Wake and Control and all these things.
Yes, there is.
And I found some, and I definitely found some, and it was fantastic to like watch some of that stuff again and be like, okay, yeah, seeing the connections and all the stuff. Yeah.
Ancient Nightingale, and all of his so funny but so stupid. Every time he calls him like a different famous writer name,
yes,
so funny to me.
Yeah.
All right, Hemingway.
Yeah, all right, Hemingway. Yeah.
And the fact that like Nightingale is like the catalyst, like that is sets up the events of Alan Wake 2, his death and stuff. Like
Yeah.
the hype is real. I love that first. Did you play the DLC?
I played one of them, the first one, but I didn't play. I haven't played the second one yet, so I'm gonna sit down and do that at some point.
Yeah, I think the second one is better.
Yeah, I definitely remembered that point because it was one of those moments where I remembered all like the like you're like shining lights on words to like create stuff, and I thought that was so cool. But I thought for some reason I think I got it mixed up where it was like in the original game, but I forgot that was like DLC. I guess it might have just been one of those things where like when I played it on Xbox 360. I maybe it was not like the DLC was like kind of more like in the game itself rather than like separate things, but I can't remember. But
no, they were separate like menu selectables.
Okay.
And I think this is like the final stretch of the main campaign that has some of the word stuff.
Yeah.
And that's when they like get way more into it with the DLC. Yeah, like a thing that game does that I still think is like really cool and really sets the tone and the atmosphere is like the narrated manuscript pages. And just like all of the in-game narration, right? Like kind of like Bastion before Bastion was the thing. Of just like having the character narrate a lot of the things that are happening, but also there's scenes that you're not seeing, so you're getting context for things other characters are doing and why they kind of show up at certain times. I like the minute they picked up a manuscript page in that Alan Wake 2 demonstration, I was like, cool. Yeah. We're doing it again, baby.
Yeah. I'm really stoked for that. Yeah, that was like a fun trip down memory lane though. I had that like kind of like last week after the summer game stuff. But yeah, after I finished that, I circled back to another game, which I'm glad I did because I'm really enjoying it. Is After Image, which me and you did a viewpoints for I think like a couple months ago. It was like earlier this year. And I played a little bit of it then and like really had a good time. And then like I think some other stuff came out at the point, like I want to say that was like right before like Lightfall and some other stuff came out. So I am now circling back to it because I always did want to check out more of it. And yeah, I'm glad I did because man, it is an awesome Metroidvania. Like, and it's like the first time I felt like I played a Metroidvania that's like also like mixed in RPG elements and like they feel like satisfying to like work into. Also, the game is like fucking massive. I think I got a vibe of that from the viewpoints. But I am now 40 hours into this
Oh
game,
shit.
and like I'm like level like 68 or 67, and I'm still going. Like there's still like massive areas of the map I know I haven't gone to yet. Um, and there's just like tons of like cool things. Like I'm unlocking, like I'm finding like scrolls that give me like more advanced moves and stuff. So now I have moves like I right now I'm using daggers and a scythe. So like I have like moves now where like where if I hit up in a light attack, I do like an uppercut with the my two dual daggers, and she does like a big spinning motion. And then if I do that and then I hit down and heavy attack, I now have a scythe move that does like an aerial like spinning slam. So they perfectly like combo into each other, and it's just like super fun that they like those like both of those attacks like combo into each other with two different weapons. So I've not messed with too many more other weapons. I'm curious if like other ones have like similar combos like that. I would imagine they I could probably find stuff like maybe with like a standard sword or maybe like a big sword, like Claymore sword or something like that. So I do want to mess around with that stuff more. But I've really been liking the daggers and the scythe combo I'm messing with right now. Tons of other stuff like there's I'm finding weapons like on top of those that like even like are like dropping from bosses, and they'll have like unique abilities tied to just the weapons themselves that give them their own abilities. Like I found the sword that has this move called Moon Cutter, and when you do like an up and square with the sword, she gets like a big like circle, like energy circle around her that like does like a big slice, but it looks like she's like making like a moon basically like shape with the sword. That's like really cool looking, and it's like just tied to that sword. Um,
Wow.
there's like more. I got like way more crazy magic spells too, because like you get like a third move. It's like a magic spell. Like you get basic ones to start, which like I shoot a fireball, or I make like a little stone pillar. But now I find like way more advanced ones where it's like now I have one where I shoot out like a big black orb, and when it hits enemies, it does like a bunch of damage. But if it kills them, I actually like drain their health, like when it went and give myself back health if like the orb actually kills them. So that's really fun. There's like other moves where I have like this big like it's like I make like water like blades like shoot out of the top of like a staff, because you also get like magic books, but you also get like magic staffs, and some of them will even have like multiple moves. Like I have like a magic staff that shoots out like a poison cloud, but as its standard attack. But if I hit up and the magic button, she does like a big like it makes like a big like purple energy blast like shoot out of the ground like an AOE. So like yeah, just like tons of cool extra things I just did not expect to be in that game with like the variety of like moves and stuff you can kind of interact with. Tons of crazier environments I found. Like I'm in like I went to this like crazy sky islands that have like all this like like almost like Japanese building structures and visual look to them, and there's all these like jade like stone creatures that I'm fighting and stuff. They're like up in the sky. It's a really cool area. Yeah, there's like I found this like underground like molten like lava zone. I fought this crazy fire demon boss where it's like a big stone slab that's like a big demon like made of stone, and you're like dodging big fire blasts and stuff. I beat him, and then I found a big elevator that took me down even deeper into like this like godly realm. That's just like completely ridiculous zone that's like not really talked about, because the story is like, I will say the one thing about it is like the story was like really like not really grabbing me, unfortunately, just because it's like I think like they tried to emphasize the game being like more like free and open, because like I've definitely like had the ability to like stumble into areas where I was clearly like under leveled, but kind of make my way through if I wanted to try. And so it makes I think like the story feel like way more like not connected, because you're not really being like directly led to like the next major story beats. So like a lot of times I'm just like stumbling into stuff, and it's just like, oh yeah, I'm this guy, and like they're telling me about this like war that happened between gods and humans, and the now we're in this realm that's left, and my character like was involved and very important in this legendary thing, but she has no memories. So like she's not getting any answers, and like all the characters are like telling her that she's this. but like nothing's ever answered and like more directly told to her. But all these characters know that she is at the same time, so it's just like, well, okay, sure, whatever. So it's like it's very like, you know, very like, you know, anime-ish and whatever at the same time. But it's just because of that. I think that nature of like it being so kind of open in terms of how you explore it in a Metroidvania sense, that like you can just kind of like, you know, stumble around to bits and like be led into this one like, you know, potential side quest or story character that like, you know, you're talking to. I don't know if it's like directly related to the main story. It doesn't seem like it is, but it could be. And sometimes like I've had moments where like it didn't seem like it was, but then it seemed, and then you find these characters again, and then it seems it's actually more involved, and like these characters know you and stuff. And it's like, okay. It's hard to like, it's really just hard to parse the actual story stuff going on in the game, for me at least. But like at the end of the day, like I'm just exploring it. I'm just having a really good time with the Metroidvania gameplay, and just like it having this very open way to explore, and just like, you know, having those fun Metroidvania moments of like, okay, yeah, I've been struggling to get into these areas just because I don't have this one right thing, and then finding like an ability that's not necessarily seems like the fully correct ability, but it allows me to do that, where it's just like, oh, now I just have like a Mega Man like wall jump, like you can just saddle up like the side of a wall, and if I just, you know, use my double jump to then like dash into like this weird little corner, it's just enough where I can like, you know, jump up into these other areas and like messing around and doing that kind of stuff and exploring ways to get around the world. That's like the kind of shit I like in a Metroidvania, and it's totally all doable, on top of just like a lot of cool like RPG systems that like kind of work well, and like finding cool like loot and weapons and stuff, which is something I did like that I didn't expect right out the gate from this game. But now I'm like, you know, again, I'm like 40 hours in, I'm still like getting all this cool stuff.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's so funny you bring this up, because this was the game that I was going to play to tide me over to Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah,
because I've like not been able to concentrate on anything.
Yeah.
In anticipation for that. And I decided, because I was kind of like, oh, like a shorter Metroidvania style thing. I decided
it is
to like,
not.
yeah, it's not shorter, which I'm glad that I'm hearing this now, because it makes me glad that I didn't end up going with it. I was like, how about I just try and pick a couple of things out of my backlog to like just get rid of, and things that I've been meaning to play forever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like that's where I went. So I played Dust and Elysian Tale.
Oh hell yeah!
All the way through, which is a really good game. And I was like, it's from 2012 too. It's like one of the first games I ever previewed at a PAX ever in my life. Tell you like my relationship with this game and how bad I am about like actually going back and finishing some of those things. And I really liked it. I finished that yesterday. Also, I was like, okay, that's on Switch. I can talk about that on the Nintendoland. Really cool and worth going back to. It took me like 11 hours to play the whole game. Very fun combat system in that as well. So yeah, I'm glad that you brought this up, because I do plan on, I want to play After Image, and it's making me want to play it more. But it's like, okay, I'm glad I waited.
Yeah, that's
later.
like yeah, maybe get back to it after 16, because I had a similar vibe of like I also did not realize I was going to be going this much more longer into it. And it's just like, wow, yeah, I still have like so much to do in this, like, and this is like all these random little side things, and like there's like cool like cooking systems I didn't realize like how much they were involved, where it's like you when you defeat enemies, you get like drops and like materials and whatnot, and if you cook meals, they actually give you permanent bonuses like the first time you like make them. So it's actually like worthwhile. So like I didn't realize it at first. And I was like going to shops and like finding shops, and like there's tons of cool like shops. Like I found like a secret shop in this like haunted, there's like an area that's like, well, what is it called? It has like a cool name, but it's basically like a haunted like spirit like town, like spooky ghost town.
Cool.
And I found like a hidden shop there, and he has like a bunch of like cool stuff where it's like, here's like a bunch of like, you know, higher tier swords, and like you can straight just buy like talent points and like the things that give you like your health and mana upgrades, like those little items. So you had like a bunch of cool rare stuff, and of course I bought all that. So
nice.
It was just cool, like to just like find those kind of like extra little Metroidvania stuff, things like that, like shops, and finding those kind of like things where it's like, oh yeah, if I I found this random lady out in the desert and she just has like a bunch of cooking recipes you can make, and like if I make these, then I'll just get like extra little, +2 to my health permanently, or +2 like damage resistance to whatever for permanently, like all kinds of stuff. It's cool. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and I definitely have been playing. It's definitely some of the later bosses, though, I will say, are like I'm like later in, like, man, some of these bosses are motherfuckers. Now at this point where it's just like I fought this guy like earlier, and he's like this crazy like holy knight looking like thing. And like, it's one of those things where you fight it and you're just like, man, you get the lower health and it starts popping off and doing attacks more and more, and it's getting crazy, and I'm just like mashing on and using health potions and shit. And then all of a sudden I get it down to a certain point of health, and then its body just raises up in the air and a big light beam hits it and it just goes into phase 2 and gets all its health back. I was like, no, you're fucking kidding me. And it just starts a whole new phase, and it has like, crazy AoE moves and shit now. I'm just like, God damn it. I did beat him, and I got a cool ass sword from it finally. But it was one of those things. Like now, like those are all the kind of bosses you're getting to now. Now that I'm in the end game, or just like all these crazy bosses are just showing up when I randomly stumble into them, and it's like, oh fuck, these guys are motherfuckers.
That's rad. It reminds me a lot of Soldiers, where it's like, it seems like a fun like action Metroidvania, and then it's like, oh, this is like 45 hours.
yeah. It seems like it's gonna keep going for a little bit. So I'll probably definitely have to circle back to it again, probably, because I'm also very stoked for Final Fantasy 16, and that's like literally probably gonna be out
3 hours away from when we're recording this.
Yeah, basically. So but yeah. That's all I got for gaming stuff. I don't know if you got anything else, but
I want to keep the Pokemon Journey update going strong.
Yep, let's hear it.
Because I kind of skipped talking about some stuff last episode because it was Tears of the Kingdom time, and Pokemon had to wait. But yeah, I went back to Pokemon Shield. Which had been a while, and brought some of my Pokemon from the bank over. I don't know if I mentioned it last time, but basically, I had played Crystal, and we talked about that, and I played Omega Ruby, Omega Ruby, and then I played Platinum, and finally beat that game. You could argue that it beat me, but I did finish it. I did get credits. So
nice.
And like I found a really weird way to get all of the mystery events items in Pokemon. There is a way to do that now in like modern day on the DS games. So I got like my Arceus and everything and all that stuff from Platinum, which was really cool. And then I ended with Pokemon Black. I played all the way through Pokemon Black, which is harder than I remembered it being. But still, like, I'm happy to report, like, as good as I remember it. I think the Pokemon in that game, some of them are, like, whatever, which is kind of a bummer. And I think that's, like, one of the weakest sets of starters, unfortunately. I like Superior and Survivor and stuff, like, a lot, but the other two are, like, fine.
Yeah, I'm with you. Those are definitely. I'd really say, like, those for me, and then, like, are the weakest, and I'd probably say like Sun and Moon or after that for me personally. But
yeah, I'd probably be the same, and it's tough because like Scarlet and Violet, which is like going to be the thing that like really got me into it, I think has maybe the best starters of any Pokemon game. Especially with their evolutions.
Yeah, I would say they're up there for sure.
But yeah, Black is really cool. I really like that the gym leaders are like a part of that story as well, and like come back at the end, and like you are going through the Elite Four while the story is also happening, and like they're kind of happening together. And like En's Castle comes up, and he becomes like the champion that you fight after the Elite Four and stuff. Like I thought all that stuff was super cool, and just makes it feel like really memorable in a way that some of the other Pokemon games and their stories and how it all comes together don't. I think Scarlet and Violet do, right? Because they all come together, and you have like this post game after doing all those things that brings all those characters together and stuff. So it was cool. I'm glad that I felt really good about Black and White going back to it. But I finished that, and that was like early May for point of reference. So I was like, okay, I think it's time to stop where I'm at with Pokemon for now. Maybe we'll come back to X and Y, and I do want to finish Moon, which I do have, and I had started at some point, but it was like, all right, Zelda's coming up. This is a good stopping point.
Yeah.
So then after that, I went back to Shield just to like mess around and do the DLC that I'd never done. That stuff is like really great.
Yeah.
And I definitely find myself more in like your camp of like, hey, like this game is actually like way better than I feel like people treat it.
Yeah.
And it looks really good.
It really got a bad rep in general just because of the kind of blanking on the term for it. Basically, just like it got overhyped because it was the first big Pokemon game on a main console. So like the stakes were way higher into it. And I think it just did not meet those things. Where like outside, if you were just take it outside of that, it is just like a good Pokemon game.
It's just a really good Pokemon game. Yeah.
And like you said, the DLC is like a cool foundation for what we obviously got now in Scarlet and Violet that I really liked.
And it felt really natural going from Scarlet and Violet to the DLC areas of Shield and seeing like the tundra and then like the like kind of different biomes that are in that area as well. And yeah, just doing all the legendary stuff was really fun. The 3D versions of Zapdos, Articuno, and Moltres are awesome.
Yeah,
and
it's really cool.
I'm so stoked that I have them in Scarlet and Violet now. Like they're on my team for sure. Because I think those iterations of those Pokemon specifically are so cool.
Did you try out in the tundra the raid battle thing?
Yeah, I did a lot of those.
Yeah, they're cool, right? I like that.
Yeah, it's cool. I didn't love at first that it certainly makes it less interesting. I'm less invested than I was with the end game raids in Scarlet and Violet because I'm not taking my Pokemon in there.
Yeah,
but it does have, because they're like kind of so bite sized. It takes like 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's super quick, and usually you're getting like, it's a way to get like basically all of the legendary Pokemon from all previous games. Like they're all in there.
Yeah,
which I appreciated.
And
having to get that stuff.
Yeah, and that certainly helped me kind of fill out the logs and stuff. Like basically, it's there's a equivalent of it at the end of Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon as well. And it's kind of like a revamped imagining of that I haven't gotten that far in Ultra Moon, but I hope to at some point. But yeah, I did like, I think I got like 10 of the 29 Pokemon that you can get through that, and I do, maybe at some point optimistically want to go back to kind of fill out that. And I'll say like between all the regular Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet and all the regular Pokemon in the DLCs of Sword and Shield, like I think that's most Pokemon pretty covered.
Yeah.
And that's cool. So I feel like between those two games, which are very easy to jump into and feel very modern comparatively, you can get a full Pokedex pretty easily, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I'll do that at some point because I'm broken.
Yes, complete. You're gonna get complete living decks. Is that what we're heading
I don't know
towards?
about complete living decks, but at least like final evolutions of most, if not all, Pokemon. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with those raid battles. It's a cool, different approach to strategy of like having to pick a Pokemon kind of along the way that's going to be strong against the legendary that you're going up against. And they're not as hard as like the actual final raid battles in Scarlet and Violet, which are fucking brutal. And I love them. And like, it makes you have to make a build of a very specific Pokemon basically. And I like that. And it's easy to get a bunch of resources to do that in that game, but it's nice to like just have a thing I can kind of play in the background, like watching anime or TV or something. And like just kind of accrue legendary Pokemon very easily and not as stressed as Scarlet and Violet. But yeah, and then June came around. I like after I came out of my Hyrule coma, I was like, oh shit! Like they updated Scarlet and Violet. Got that set up with the Pokemon Bank, Pokemon Home, as it is known now. A lot of Pokemon that you can't bring over yet. Like I really want to bring over. I have like a Cosmog because if you level it up in a B series game, I've been learning a lot about how it's all just like the A or B game basically. It's red, gold, all those games are the same as far as like the background legendary and the background Pokemon that are kind of version exclusive. So like I got a Cosmog in Pokemon Shield, but I also got Lunala in Pokemon Shield, so I don't need to evolve it there. But if I could send it to like an A series game like Scarlet, I could evolve it and it will turn into the Liana Gala or whatever the lion guy is called. Right. So I'm just like waiting for them to update Scarlet and Violet so I can just like dump that Pokemon in there and get it. And it's like another legendary box I can check and kind of get those all sorted out. But yeah, I was, after doing that earlier this month and like leveling up a bunch of Pokemon to level 100 because I have like a bunch of those super EX candies and stuff. And, like I got my Oshawott or my Samurott from my original playthrough of Pokemon Black in 2012 to level 100. And like, it's just something special about that. That feels really cool to be able to do. And I'm stoked for that DLC. It was the opening thing they showed in that draft. And I was like, I'm gonna play the shit out of this, as stated earlier. So
yeah, I'm hopeful still that like that's like they do some things that like make it worth coming back. Because I would like to revisit Scarlet and Violet and like go do, because I didn't even do a lot of like the actual like going and getting like the future or past Pokemon or getting like some of the weird legendaries, like finding all those things. And I would like to do that. Like I would like to do that. I just need that game to like just like run better, please.
Yeah.
Like if they do that work, then like I will be more than happy to like jump back in the game and probably put like 100 hours into it or something, just going and collecting all the shit and bringing over a bunch of my Pokemon myself. But it's just like I just need that thing. Like if they did that, that'd be awesome. But I just worry.
Yeah. I get it. I think that's completely fair for sure. I hope with those DLC releases we'll get some big patches, but I'm stoked for new Pokemon. I don't know like if there's going to be like a lot of new wild Pokemon, we'll see. It might just be legendary stuff. Yeah. But just more stuff for the Scarlet Violet decks and like they haven't updated the Pokedex at all since that game came out. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of Pokemon that they've done through those exclusive events that are just, all of them pretty much are just not in the Pokedex, right? Okay. So you can just have them, but they're not in the Pokedex. There's no Pokedex entry.
They're not in there to get.
Which is like why I'm like, could you just let me put my Cosmog in here? You already didn't make a Pokedex entry for half of these things. So like, let me just pull this over.
Yeah. Can we just do this? Come on.
But I'm hoping, we get like a bunch of Dex entries and stuff that'll just flesh things out and stuff. So, yeah, Pokemon, still enjoying my time with it. Cranked out Dust and Elysian Tail this week to tide me over. A thing, just very specific mechanic in that game that I do want to shout out. I love that there's a bunch of crafting materials that just random drops from monsters in that game. If you sell them to the shop once in Dust, it'll just the shop will then start stocking that material, and then they'll accrue more over time in the background just as you're doing other stuff. So you just gotta sell one of each material, and then you can buy the rest of what you would need for crafting. And that's so nice.
That is good.
I know not every game is going to be able to afford to do that because they need to make you grind for whatever reason, but like that's so nice. Mm-hmm. And I was so grateful for that. But yeah, I think that's really all I've been playing. Excited for Final Fantasy 16, like all the other nerds.
Yeah, hours away. I'm like so stoked that I'm like, I played the demo and got really stoked from the demo, but now I'm gonna play tomorrow and still probably just play it right from the start, even though I could carry over the save just because I like it so much. That's where I'm at. I'm really stoked. Speaking of Final Fantasy, Chocobo GP,
what's the update?
I will update you and surprisingly, I just have it. I don't have to spend the money.
Oh, thank God.
I guess I got the other thing. If I wanted to, I could go
You got the real version. They gave you the real version.
Yeah. I spent the $40 however long ago, and they gave it to me. I guess there was definitely other updates than I thought, because I see here in the character menus, Cloud, of course, Cloud is there. I can spend 40 tickets to unlock Cloud. Right, or it's
Do you have a bunch of tickets?
I have 65 tickets, so I could buy Cloud Strife right now if I wanted to. But I could also buy Ultros from Final Fantasy VI, because apparently they added
now
him.
We're fucking talking.
They added Ultros at some point. There's like a little chipmunk character here, just called Chip. I have no idea who the fuck that is. Odin's in here. There's like a little chibi looking Odin with like big
nice
thing. There's Treasure Hunter Sid. I don't know why he's a treasure hunter, but I guess it's like from a specific older Final Fantasy. There's a bigger chocobo that's like red and like an evil looking, kind of like a Shadow the Hedgehog chocobo called Volg, Volg. I have no idea what that's about. He's like Edgelord Shadow chocobo.
Love it.
And then I have this like black. She's like a lady with like a face tattoo, and she looks like she's wearing like a black mage outfit called Chroma. I have no idea who that is either. I don't know if they're like clearly old, maybe much older Final Fantasy characters that I'm just not down with, that I don't remember from. And they have like all the other characters, like they have like all like the summons. Oh, there's a mecha mystery robot mecha chocobo. I didn't see that either. There you go. So
that's good to know, though. I guess if you bought that base game version for Chocobo GP for $40 back in the day, it might be worth booting that game back up again.
Now you just own it, and you can the as stated, the microtransaction stuff is all gone. Can't buy currencies or battle passes or whatever. You just I guess you just earn the currency by playing the game. So there you go. But yeah, that's Nintendoland. That's our trip for Nintendoland this week, everybody. Or this month for June. We'll be back probably in July. We'll probably be back after Pinkman 4 launches, because I'm probably going to pick that up and play some of that.
Hell yeah, I'm excited to hear you talk about that. I do want to shout out like some other Irrational Passion things going on right now.
Yeah, let's do it.
First, if you were part of the Summer Games mess, we reacted to a whole bunch of that stuff. That should be up on our YouTube. That was a very fun time.
Yeah.
And just because it was like really recent, I recorded this last night. Scott White, host of RPG University, the episode that's coming out probably last week from when you're hearing this. I don't know when this is going to go up, but like the episode that went out the day Final Fantasy 16 comes out was a banger episode where we just talked about Final Fantasy stuff. Got Jess Cogswell from GameSpot. We got Marcus from Game Informer. We had John Phipps from Super Deluxe Gamecast. So and myself and Scott, and it was a super good conversation. Definitely check that out.
Awesome.
But yeah, a lot of good stuff happening.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff. We'll have some viewpoints as well here in the near future from me and you. Also, me and Quinn are going to be doing some soon here, checking out some indie stuff that dropped during the game mess that got overshadowed. We're going to be checking out like a handful of stuff like that, and then we will also have a new episode of Helm to Tower, our Destiny 2 podcast. So if you're a Destiny 2 sicko like we are, feel free to go check that out as well on youtube.com/Helm to Tower. All the stuff, of course, will be here on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Irrational Passions, if you want to check out some of that stuff, or everything else is on podcast services. Yep. Thanks everybody for watching in here on YouTube again, or listening on podcast stuff. We appreciate it as always. You have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye.